Cheers. Okay, I did a video a couple months ago after we attacked Venezuela. And in that video, I asked the question, who's next?
Who's next? Huh?
I asked you, the viewer. I gave my prediction, and I asked a bunch of different AI engines. Well, now we know the answer to that question. I'm not happy that we're at war, that we've invaded another country, but here we are. We have the answer, it's Iran. And so let's take a look. The answer, the AI engines that were right, there were 3 that had Iran on their radar. ChatGPT, Google Gemini, and Venice. So they all get 2 points. I was wrong. I'm glad I was wrong. I'm glad we didn't invade Panama and take the canal. I'm glad we didn't bomb Mexico. I'm glad we didn't, they said they were going to take out the cartels. And then we had Grok, Google AI, Claude, and Copilot. They were all wrong. They had other countries on their radar. But, now here we are. So the follow-up for me for this is not who's next. It's how long. And I think who's next is kind of irrelevant until this is over. And I don't think this is going to be over for a long time. I know that the administration wants you to think it's going to be a hit and run, bang, bang.
Bada bing, bada boom, I'm done.
I don't think it's going to be that easy. And so I asked that question, how long, to a bunch of different AI, same as last time. I added a little bit. And I asked it, I wanted to do this video a week ago. Life gets in the way, things get complicated.
He is a good and smart master, and he made me this collar so that I may talk. Squirrel!
But I asked it again last night, and I got different answers. I said, what do you think now with the week's past events? And AI didn't give the same answers. And when I asked the question originally last week, I asked it in 2 different ways. The first time I asked, they all gave the same answer, 3 months or less. And then I rephrased the question, that AI does that, if you know much about AI. I rephrased it saying that we were told with Iraq that it would be quick in and out, but the government was wrong. And so what if Trump is wrong? And that's when I got different answers, very different answers. I got different answers last week and then updates this week. So I asked the question also in a framework of 3 months or less, 3 to 12 months, 1 to 3 years, or 3 years or more. And originally they all said 3 months or less. And then when I said, what if Trump was wrong? Then they said, oh yeah, no, he could very well be wrong. And 5 of them said 3 to 12 months, and the other 3 said 1 to 3 years. And then when I asked the question again yesterday, ChatGPT was one that originally said 3 to 12, but it switched. It said, no, it's looking more like 1 to 3 years, possibly longer. And it wasn't the only one that said possibly more. So, that's where we're at now. And I'm not happy about it. I'm not pro-Iran, but I think this is going to be in the 3+ years category because I see so many commonalities between this and Iraq.
Oh, déjà vu.
Right down to I don't know if you remember how old you are, if you remember the war with Iraq, but they told us the same lie. Different words, weapons of mass destruction. But it's the same lie. Iran is a week away from having a whole bunch of nukes, and they're going to nuke the Middle East and bomb, bomb, bomb. Same lie, different words, weapons of mass destruction. There were no weapons of mass destruction.
I take the fact that he develops weapons of mass destruction very seriously.
It was a lie then, and it's a lie today. And so that's one of the reasons that I think this is going to drag out. And there's a couple more. Dementia Dawn is one of the big ones. Pete Keg's breath is another big one. We've got incompetent douchebags in charge. Dementia Dawn is severely late stage. Alzheimer's, Sundowners is the stage that he's at, where he's up all night, rage tweeting, and then falling asleep during the day. Those are classic dementia, late stage, Sundowners symptoms. And then Keg's Breath, he said, a lot of you saw the video. He said, we want maximum lethality, not tepid legality.
Maximum lethality, not tepid legality. Violent effect, not politically correct.
So it's not a coincidence that we bombed schools and hospitals. It's more that we just don't care. We're not trying to follow the rules. We're just trying to blow shit up. And so, yeah, the other lie that they told us about Iraq is that we would be greeted as liberators. And it's true. There were people that were films that came out of people saying, yeah, make Iran great again. And people were happy because we killed the Ayatollah. And then we bombed schools and hospitals and all kinds of civilians all over the place. All of a sudden, we're just another bad guy. The Ayatollah was a bad guy. Make no bones about that. I don't like Iran's hardline government. I'm not a fan, never was. But to those people that wanted to be out from under that thumb, we're just another bad guy. We're coming in, dropping bombs and calling the shots. And they don't know us. And after we start bombing schools and hospitals, they don't like us. We're not the liberators. They lied about that with Iraq, and now it's a lie today. And I'm not proud of it. So those are a couple of the reasons that I think this war is going to drag out, and we're not going to be able to just pull the plug on it. Another one of the reasons that Iran has been buckling down and preparing for this war for a generation, and the Strait of Hormuz, right now the big news is how oil prices are going up because oil can't get out of the Strait of Hormuz. But what they're not talking about is what's not going in. And that's food and supplies, not just to Iran, but all those other countries that are our allies in that part of the world. So without the food going in, we're now the bad guys, not just to Iran, but to the whole area. And we're the bad guys to everybody who's not getting their fuel out of it, whose gas prices are going up. So, there's another side track I want to mention too, and that's about Dementia Dawn and how he views the world. I think the Epstein files made it clear that Dementia Dawn thinks that everybody has a price.
You walk out that door, and I won't only cut off you, I'll cut off your kids. You wouldn't. Oh, wouldn't I? First, your daughter Linda.
Everybody can be bought. And in his mind, he proved himself right when he bombed Venezuela. And he turned the screws on them and they said, oh, no, we'll give you what you want. But in his mind, if for the right price, you'll stab your brother in the back. For the right price, you'll push your wife down the stairs. But I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't hurt the woman that I love for any amount of money. I wouldn't stab my brother or betray my brother for any amount of money. And that's not a Democrat thing. It's not a liberal thing. It's not a Republican thing. It's not an America thing. It's just a part of anybody that's got a little bit of that humanity. And that applies just as much to the people of Iran. They're not going to betray their brothers and their sisters and their wives and their daughters. And when we're killing their wives and daughters and murdering their brothers and sisters, they can't be bought. So yeah, this is going to drag out. It's going to be ugly and it's going to last a long time. And I love my country. I love America, but I'm not going to have my head in my ass and tell myself that we're always the good guy and America number one, because sometimes we're not the good guy, and this is one of those times. And to those people in Iran, we're just another bad guy. And to me, I think today we look like another bad guy. I'm not proud of it. So be careful out there. Eventually protests will come. Be careful for that. Eventually elections will come. Be careful for that. I love you. Stay safe and cheers.